economic progress has been what has been touted, and we can't deny that there have been economic accolades about how well Jamaica has done after COVID at this point when we compare ourselves to other nation states. However, it's crucial in fact, to understand that robust economic growth would be enhanced by two magic words: good governance. The true measure of effective governance lies in the presence of trust, integrity, transparency across all systems. So N.I.A, the National Integrity Action, is of the view that in spite of the economic accolades, nothing can be said much about where we are unless there are, and there is, and there should be effective governance. So when politicians have no code of conduct, you know I was gonna say that, economic accolades mean nothing. When there's no disclosure about who is awarded contracts, economic accolades is empty. When public bodies fail to provide timely reports as to how they use public funds, economic progress is dead. When the government seeks to weaken rather than strengthen legislation meant to empower or protect people, specifically the imposition of the Political Ombudsman's Office into the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, or running with alacrity to extend the time of the DPP or confirm a parliamentary clerk whilst at a slug space, ignoring the need and the law to protect the ECJ by entrenching it into the Constitution, tells us that governance is not important. When constitutional reform is used to placate the public that the government is willing to make decisions that will improve the next generation of Jamaicans, but whose actions suggest otherwise, this erodes our trust in how you'll handle the funds. So what we need, and what we haven't heard, is how is the government willing to support creating a homegrown democracy, and one that holds all of our politicians accountable to one single standard of behavior that inspires positive change in the land that we love. When the House Speaker refuses to share the advice given by the People's Attorney General, advice that will benefit the public's knowledge of parliamentary procedures, this reflects the arrogance of a government that feels that all occupied positions of power should benefit only the ruling party. When the government shies away from supporting legislation to recall a member of parliament for non-performance of duties, and this can be easily done as we did the extension of the DPP's tenure, it suggests that it does not believe that it is accountable to the people. And when the government forgets its promise of a fixed election date, we heard nothing of that. It suggests that changes that will improve governance will not be pursued. So when there is and forgive my use of this particular word, aggression towards the Auditor General and the Integrity Commission, in the face of such mammoth spending, it suggests that there are issues of accountability that the government would rather the public not know. So sustained economic growth, to our mind, cannot occur without trust, and trust is not gained by being autocratic. Ignoring the questions of private members tells the public that this is a one-party show and that there is no concern about equity in governance, but rather the only concern is consolidating power. This undermines the very foundation of economic progress. So having heard the presentations, N.I.A was inspired by the words of the Minister of Health and Wellness when he recently visited St. Lucia. And we ask our own government, having listened to the budget, having listened to the utterances of those who have spoken about the great direction that Jamaica is heading, is the government prepared to do what it has never done before because it is the right thing to do and will serve the greater good, even if it means disagreeing with traditional measures of success? Is the government prepared to lead by empowering people in their communities and avoiding the temptation to satisfy local or international bureaucracies as indicators of success rather than the people's needs, that is a test of whether or not this budget is solid, effective, comprehensive, and progressive. So the issues N.I.A. has raised are concerns of the public. They're not the concerns of Daniel Archer. They are the concerns of the public. And the public demands governance that builds trust, reflects integrity, and is transparent. So, Professor Hamilton, I apologize, but I'm using this moment as a direction to my fellow Jamaicans, my colleagues and my friends, my media batchmates, if I could call them that. And I'm inspired by the words of Marshall Matthews III, otherwise known as Eminem. And I ask you, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you had ever wanted in this one moment, would you capture it or let it slip away? This, my friends, is the moment. It is a press conference, but it's the first opportunity that the people of this country have had to respond to the budget that was presented. It is your moment, and I would want to tell you, from my perspective, that you should never let it go. Let us not miss the chance to do the right thing for future Jamaicans. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for each of us. Let's examine the budget. Let's review the actions of all our parliamentarians, every single solitary one. And let's ask ourselves, if there is room for transparency and accountability, is there? And if the answer is yes, I invite you. Stand with members of the civil society. Stand with your schools, your entities, and your churches. This is the moment to make your voice heard. If you want a better Jamaica, we must not wait to be led by our politicians. And we must not be overwhelmed by the niceties of a budget that tells us what it can bring. But we should demand improved governance so that accountability, transparency, and integrity will ensure that every single Jamaican in the rural and urban centers, whether you're educated at a tertiary level or not, whether you're a farmer or a teacher, you can participate in making Jamaica the place to live, to work, and to enjoy your lifestyle the way you choose to at this particular moment. Thank you.